Surprise, surprise, Tony Ferguson has gone completely off of his rockers. Well, he actually hasn't, but he's back to doing interviews after claiming that he had retired. Turns out he's not retired whatsoever. He's fighting Dylan Dennis in GFL. And yeah, he says some stuff that makes you really concerned about his CTE and his brain conditioning, as well as some interesting stuff and just basically some random stuff that Tony Ferguson always throws out. But basically, this video is just to say, please somebody help Tony Ferguson. This guy clearly needs help. He needs to be perma-banned from all mixed martial arts, anything that can do any damage to his brain, and needs to be under strict supervision from his wife and authorities, for that matter, to not be able to leave his house and just challenge random strangers on the street to fights for $100. The guy's really concerning me with his actual verbiage that he's using, as well as just the manner in which he's speaking right now. But anyway, let's get into this video. He says some interesting stuff in here as well, on top of the normal Tony Ferguson stuff we've come accustomed to.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was offered a boxing match against KSI. We were in heavy negotiations, which was awesome. I'm ready to take the fucking fight because, I mean, in MMA, we don't get to wear shoes. In wrestling, I wear shoes. I move completely different in boxing than I do in any other sport. So you asked me about training.
So obviously he was excited to take the fight because, of course, shoes. You know what I mean? Like in UFC, you can't wear shoes. In boxing, you can wear shoes. In wrestling, you used to wear shoes. Immediately, you're like, is Tony Ferguson, are you thinking about what you're saying, or are you just saying stuff for the sake of it? But let's continue on.
To me, ready to fucking go, and then they had me wanting to go to a press conference the week after, and I was ready down. And I started thinking, I was like, okay, let me talk to my team.
So he was down, but then he was like, oh, let me think about this. Oh, let me talk to my team. Fair enough so far. I mean, we can kind of follow along the track that he's going down.
So I started talking to my team, talked to my dad, I got my father, my dad in my corner now, and I got a couple other people that are good advisors for me. And we're like, hey, you know what? Let's finish up mixed martial arts. Let's get this going, and then we can worry about boxing later. So it wasn't like we said no or we haven't said yes, but we started focusing more towards MMA.
Didn't say no, didn't say yes, but then we started focusing towards MMA. Okay.
Then obviously KSI went and, I guess, found a different opponent because by then there was the draft. That was when shit was all going down. And then when the draft happened and everything, it was like kind of like, okay, yeah, we're certain that this is where the direction where we want to go. We want to turn some heads. We want to make sure that everything is good, and we're tired of fucking losing. Like, it's dub season all day from here on out. You know, when I left the UFC, you know.
Before Tony Ferguson completely strays away from the track that he was going down, I still don't know why he didn't take the fight with KSI. He was talking to someone, he's talking to his dad, talking to his team. He was down to go to the press conference a week from then. Okay, everything's on the go, and all of a sudden, oh, well, actually, we're going to focus on martial arts. He found a new opponent, and now he's going off of some other track that he's going down on there, which we'll try to, like, you know, understand step by step. Let's see how it got to this point. I'm just breaking down how we got to there. Let's continue.
Everything was, I hate to say it, you know, I wanted to fight another time, but obviously, you know, I mean, even me, like, it was kind of like, okay, I have to excuse myself, guys, you know, but I don't want to leave on bad terms. And so, talking to Hunter, actually. And
how are we at Hunter, by the way? We were just talking about KSI in the boxing fight, where he was too busy focusing on MMA and the draft was happening, and then Hunter and Dana White are in talks for some reason.
And coming into terms with it, it was like we all agreed that, you know, it was with best interest for me to move on. Like, honestly, it was awesome. I want to go and I want to play different sports. I want to go and I want to experience new things, new trophies, new rings, new fucking championships.
All those things aren't coming true. What do you mean rings? You're not going to go into baseball, my guy. You're not going to win a World Series. They're just not going to happen. New belts, the GFL belt, that actually holds more weight to you than just fighting unranked fighters in the UFC. That's insane to me as well. What else did he say? Wants more trophies. In what, dude? There's no trophies in mixed martial arts. And even if you got a trophy, like, it'll be that bullshit, fake, plastic Hall of Fame trophy that the UFC gives out to Cowboy Cerrone for some reason, completely destroying the prestige of the Hall of Fame. Anyway, let's skip on to ahead. Already we can see that Tony Ferguson's mind is astray in 2 to 3 different directions. You ask him a question, he's talking about something else. Let's see if he continues this trend.
Which, you know, usually we see the 2 gloves.
Look, bro, look, man, I wasn't ready to fucking retire, but
so now they're talking about his retirement, and then I was like, well, you know, you put your glove down, and the Tony was like, I wasn't fucking ready to retire. Someone saved this man. He wasn't gonna retire after taking a first round, basically, not a pulverization, but basically a dominant loss. Like, he got nothing off. He looked like a child, and they looked like an amateur. Like, if me and my friend were like to go up to like the, I don't know, the UFC training PI, and then we were like to Khabib or Islam, we're like, oh, let's just fucking, you know, that's what he looked like. What Islam would do to me is what he got done by Michael Chiesa. Realistically, right? And he wasn't ready to retire. That was all just a show. Well, you know, they fucking put the camera in my face. I was like, well, you know, one glove. Someone save him. This guy never wants to retire. Even after that, he never had a thought of retiring, apparently. And his train of thought was, well, I gotta do something.
I felt like I had to do something.
There we go.
Dude, I was so fucking sick. I had heat stroke.
Oh.
Like on that Thursday,
Why is it that after every loss, Tony Ferguson now has a heat stroke? You know, the training wasn't there. He's trying to surround himself with smarter people. All of this stuff. But for some reason nowadays, Tony Ferguson, we just never see like a, well, the better man just won. It's just an excuse after excuse after excuse. And this is coming from Tony Ferguson. The guy used to be an absolute savage back in the day. And now he's Mr. Excuses McGee. The fact that he's not fighting Conor McGregor, because that was a big fight back in the day that people wanted to see. And now he's fighting his little friend, who's basically an influencer as well, kind of just shows the level that he's dropped to. And if he loses Dylan Dennis, I'm sorry, he just needs to be banned from all mixed martial arts, in all sports to be honest, because no one that loses to Dylan Dennis is a professional fighter who gets paid money to fight should be losing to Dylan Dennis. The absolute embarrassment that we saw on the feet.
I went and ran every day in that area, right? And it was hot and it was.
No one forced you to?
Humid. It wasn't wet. The one day that I didn't pay attention to my shit. Dude, I lost like 8-9 pounds. And I fucking felt like I was not like dead, but I felt like the weirdest fucking shit. I didn't stop puking and everything. I didn't eat. I didn't rehydrate. And I thought I was nervous.
No one put you on a little wheel like a hamster and said, run, Tony, run. No one did that. You had the option to just not run if you didn't want to. Why is this an excuse now? I hate when fighters come up with excuses, especially Tony Ferguson. Probably the biggest excuse maker in the UFC, in mixed martial arts in general. There hasn't been a fight in this loss streak where he hasn't come up with an excuse. Kind of crazy, but continuing on.
It was just a lot of shit that was going on, bro. But I was really fucked up. And I don't really like to say that, but going into that, I was puking like a motherfucker. And then you had the Bullet, dude. What's his fucking name? The guy from Dagestan or the wrestler?
Sharp Bullet.
Yeah, dude. And he's looking at me. I'm like, I started strong, and then all of a sudden, like, I started overheating, and it was like, that whole entire trip was just meant to be. God was like, you know what, dude? Hey.
Yeah, it was just meant to be. You know, God was like, oh, Tony, you can afford a loss. It's not like you've already lost 7 in a row. Yeah, just another one for you, Tony. It's just meant to be. Just one of those things. You just had to go for a run. Me as God was obviously controlling your mind and just manipulating the strings behind the scenes and saying, run, Tony, run, mush. Makes no sense. You had no obligation to go for a run. You just chose to do that. And now that's the reason you lost, because of the heat stroke and all that nonsense. I swear before every single fight, he also says, oh, well, the old Tony's back. I'm back to my winning ways. Before that fight, I swear he said, oh, well, 155, you know, I'm an older guy, you know, I'm a wrestler, I wrestle, this is the weight I'm comfortable with, and now it's just all bullshit, apparently.
We're trying, it's good. I see that you're fucking trying. Let's find a new avenue for you. Let's find a new direction. You're going to have to go through this one, and you're going to have to make the trip, and you're going to have to prove to me that this is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what God was thinking when he was forcing Tony Ferguson to go on runs in the middle of the desert with scorching heat raining down upon his head. The eagles were just, the vultures were just waiting at the wings. Oh, I can't wait for Tony to collapse and we'll just fucking, ah! You know? That's not what was happening, Tony.
And going through that, it was the most miserable fucking process, but I had my family with me. And the week before that we went out there, we had a miscarriage.
I'm sorry.
And so
that's pretty heavy, and it's very hard to make fun of. And I'm not going to make fun of that. That's a really serious thing. I'm sure it negatively affected Tony Ferguson. It definitely probably took his mind to a dark place, but you know.
Like, well, you know, it happens. I'm not the only one. But what we do is we don't dwell on it, and what we do is we get back to the fucking board and we make sure that we try. So my takedown defense is very strong right now, Ariel.
So basically the entire scenario, if you just heard that Tony Ferguson explain, well, you know, if not the only one, could happen to anybody, you know, my takedown defense is really strong. Like, that's just not the mentality to be having. Like, why don't you just, like, so did the miscarriage not affect you? Then if it didn't, why bring it up? Why be like, oh, well, we had a miscarriage that week and then I have takedown defense. Well, how does that make any sense? Like, it's a pretty serious thing as well, and I'm not even someone that's affected by this specific circumstance, and I'm just like, wow, okay, fair enough. And then Tony Ferguson just like, oh, well, you know, takedown defense. Like, the guy's mind is it's just racing. Like, his mouth isn't thinking before he's speaking, and I guess I do that a lot in my videos as well, but still, Tony Ferguson, you're meant to be an intellectual. Well, not really, I mean, you're meant to be, I don't know.
What I was wondering.
And he was just laughing at the end of that. So which kind of just shows you the kind of mental state Tony Ferguson is. That's something like a miscarriage. And he's just more worried about his little fucking excuse about going for a run in the fucking sun. Pathetic. I mean, yeah, I know everyone likes Tony Ferguson. They don't like hearing these words about him. But the guy's just basically pathetic at this stage. Literally an excuse-making bitch, in all honesty. Like, let's listen more. Someone save him. The guy doesn't want to fight. He's not there to be hit anymore. Like, the guy's... I wouldn't be surprised if footage came out. Him at a pub. And just an older, bigger, more drunker man just knocked him out cold. And that's the level of Tony Ferguson's at.
Effect of certain people that have gotten my shit together for me, because you know what, I got so tired of my own shit, I almost had to start fucking my own self up.
Okay.
I had to start beating my own self up of taking these fights and wanting to start something new. And you should never want to do that, Ariel. You should love yourself enough to fucking to be able to go all the way through and not let anybody's words or actions, no matter what happens, deter you, and to be able to want to feel pain like that.
If anyone is watching this video, which will be very few people obviously, leave in the comments if you can decipher in normal terms and easy to understand what any of that meant. Please. I pray to you.
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say that?
Even Tony Ferguson, like, what do you mean when you say that? Let's see. Let's see if Tony Ferguson can eloquently and articulately break down for us what he meant when he said those specific words.
Hurt yourself.
Bro, I'm gonna be real. It was the most miserable experience after I won that belt, and then they took it away from me. And
okay, so he won the belt, the interim title. They took it away from him. Okay, so that's what he means. Let's go from there. Let's forget. It doesn't matter. It makes no sense to bring this up. Let's go from here. Let's try to understand.
I went back and I fought that motherfucker. On that fight card. You know, I try to keep it lighthearted because I feel that this has made me such a stronger, better man, no matter what kind of adversity I've been through. But I have got people, my fans, that are sending me memes about when Khabib and Conor were looking at me in the background.
So Ariel Helwani, keep in mind, up until this point has asked him, what does any of that stuff, mumbo jumbo nonsense you said before about you hurting yourself and the people around you, what does that mean? Now Tony Ferguson is talking about memes that the fans have sent him.
Scared shitless of when I was fighting Pettis.
Memes that they've sent him about him fighting Anthony Pettis. So that's what he meant, apparently. There is no connection of these two events. There is no way you can link these two events together. And I'm still confused why he brought up the fact that how negatively taking the belt away from him impacted him. Because now he's talking about memes the fans have sent him.
All bloody up because they knew of what I went through and what they had done.
What had they done? Fought for a title that you couldn't fight for?
So the UFC too. It's going to take a lot more for me to be able to stop and want to stop competing like this.
So he's never going to stop. Let's see what it takes. So 8 losses is not enough. The fact you've been humiliated publicly isn't enough. The fact that you've come out before every single fight said you're great and you're ready to win, and then afterwards you make up a bunch of excuses about how your training camp went wrong, and you've consistently changed your training camps over and over and over and over again. So that's not enough. The fact that you went on the longest losing streak in the history of the UFC, that's not enough. The fact that Michael Chiesa, a guy who could get chinned by anyone with hands, a guy you would have destroyed in your prime, a guy that was in your division that never got to the level that you got to, the fact that he squashed you like a bug in the first round, that's not enough for you to retire. Fair enough. The fact that you've taken life-altering damage to your brain throughout the course of your career, that's not enough for you to stop. Fair enough.
It's not like go on a deathbed and this and that. No, motherfucker. That means that I want to be completely satisfied of me actually giving really good camps, a really good effort into something that I feel that I deserve, like a new fucking belt.
Listen carefully. He just said he wants to have really good camps, really good, training and all that stuff. And he wants to feel like he's given it everything that he has. Then he goes on to say, and the reward for all that is belts. Now continue to listen.
A title. Or you tell me I'm in the Hall of Fame, or I did enough for this, or I did enough for that, or I don't need that.
And now he doesn't need all that. But before, just a sentence ago, he was explaining to us that this is what Let's go back, please. Let's just listen.
into something that I feel that I deserve, like a new fucking belt,
Something that he feels like he deserves, like a new fucking
a
belt.
title. Or you tell me I'm in the Hall of Fame, or I did enough for this, or I did enough for that, or I don't need that.
But now he doesn't need
I
that.
want to keep going. People might need that as certification where it's like, okay, yeah, you retired from the UFC and then you're going to go fight over here. Dude, you didn't fucking retire. You changed leagues.
Ah,
Everybody wants a sad sob story, and I'm not about that. I'm about fucking winning. I'm about to go out there and get this fucking season, dub season, bro. If a team depending on me,
let's see if that happens. What happens if he loses? To be honest, I thought by now he would have cracked. Like, I thought by now he would have stopped the excuses. Like, no one can, you know, just be that mentally delusional, that fucking fetish, that much of a fetishist for humiliation that they can't just go out and just keep coming up with more and more excuses over and over again. I thought by now I'd have just gave up and be like, you know what, I'm just not that good anymore. But no, we're still going. We're still going to the point where now he's saying he's changing leagues and trying to justify the existence of the GFL, which is absolutely garbage, by the way.
you're going to have to beat me on the fucking mat for that, and I don't see that happening, dude.
Sorry.
People are going to have to beat me on the fucking mat for that, and I don't see that happening, dude. I do not see that happening any
You don't see people beating you on the mat?
fucking time soon, especially this year or next year.
I don't know why he said this year and next year. Those are the 2 years he's just chosen, I'm guessing. Tony Ferguson. That is Tony Ferguson for you. The man who can't buy a win in this decade so far. In the 2020s. The man has not got a single win, but he's talking about how he, you know, fucking can't be, you can't lose, apparently. What suggests that? I guess the fact fighting Dylan Dennis, but still, I wouldn't be surprised if he beat you.
I've lost enough. I'm done. I'm over it. I got a brand new fucking GFL hoodie.
Don't know why he mentioned the hoodie, but said some exact same thing he said after every single loss and before every single fight.
I'm about to have my jersey with my name on it. Our mascots are about to be released. You just wait till I get my fucking gloves, Ariel. I sat one down because, you know what, I wanted the fans to see, you know what, a little bit of action from me, because that bullshit fucking thing that they got out there was nothing. It was nothing. They deserve better than that, and they're going to get it more.
Someone stop Tony Ferguson. He just said his retirement was nothing. Nothing is basically what he just said. Apparently he was forced. I can see that. I can see him being pressured by the DC saying, what will you do now, Tony? And everyone's like really tweeting and like everyone's been discussing online, if Tony Ferguson loses, he must retire. But how long do we have to listen to this? Like, how long is he hurt too much? Like, how long is it like before he's like, oh, well, this is all bullshit, I'm never retiring. You know, if any of you watch wrestling, you know Ric Flair was forced to retire because of his old age. And they just booked him in one last match. And then he came back and wrestled some more. The guy's an old fucking paraplegic. No one wanted to see that shit. They pulled the trigger on him. And I'm glad the UFC pulled the trigger on Tony Ferguson, because the guy is just not there anymore. I'm just going to show you one more clip, but you're going to understand the vibe of this entire fucking interview. And also Ariel Helwani. At certain points, he's like, yeah, let's go, Tony, in the middle of the interview. He should just say to him, just hang it up, man. Like, you can't be encouraging this absolute level of brain damage. Going back to wrestling, I don't think he will do this. But can't you see the parallels with Chris Benoit? If anyone knows, they know. But, like, this guy's brain is just unstable at this point.
Like, I'm a gamer, bro, but when it comes to my weight, I wrestled at 165,
Okay.
and we're competing at 165. This is where I belong.
Okay.
Not 155. I'm 41 years old, and I'm faster as fuck. I'm quicker. I'm more conditioned than a lot of these dudes. But where I'm at is I'm not trying to keep up with them. This is a rat race, but I'm no rat. I'm a turtle, ninja turtle.
Yes.
This time, you guess which one is my fucking favorite. So I'm feeling a little raft, bro.
That doesn't make any sense, what you just said. So you're not trying to keep up with these guys? At 41, you feel good at 165, I got that part. But you said you felt fine at 170. But that's fine, 5 pounds can be a lot of weight, I understand that. But what's this stuff? Oh, well, I'm not trying to keep up with them, I'm not a rat, it's no rat race. I'm a turtle, a ninja turtle. And now you guess which one's my favorite. I'm feeling a little bit rough. That doesn't make any sense. No human being ever says those sentences in a conversation. No one has ever said those exact words. No one thinks like that. No one's train of thought goes down this path of bullshit. Anyway, that's the entire video. Tony Ferguson, someone stop this man. I wish there was a higher governing body for mixed martial arts that isn't just like in-house corporation like UFC, Bellator, like an overseeing body that could just stop someone from doing this, because there's no demand for it. In other sports, once you are useless to your organization and franchise, guess what happens? You're just let go. But in MMA, there's a lot of scummy second tier, nothing, dog shit promotions that will just use an old has-been washed fighter and just drag their carcasses through the ground just to make some money. And that's what's happening to Tony Ferguson. Honestly, Tony Ferguson, retire. And someone should just ban him. There needs to be an official ban list where you just cannot compete in MMA even if you tried. At best, you can do amateurs and they make no money. And even then, even the amateurs, there needs to be some sort of rule where you can't just kill yourself over and over again. And I guess that's not very freeing to the market or whatnot. So I understand that as well. I get it. But this is almost evil at this point, just making Tony... They're not making him fight, but the guy's brain won't let him stop. The guy's got some serious illness in his head. But anyway, that's the entire video. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're a fan of Tony Ferguson, you'll love this video. Share it around. 248 subscribers. Get me to 250. 2 subscribers away. That'd be nice. I'll see you guys next time. That's the entire video. Sucked in. Bye.